This Steam subscriber agreement is a legal document that explains your rights and obligations as a subscriber of Steam from Valve Corporation, a corporation under the laws of the state of Washington, with its registered office at 10400 NE 4th Street, Bellevue. I'm assuming that's Washington 98004, United States, registered with the Washington Secretary of State under number 6022907773, VAT ID number EU 826000671. Valve. Please read it carefully. Section 11 contains a binding arbitration agreement and class action waiver. It affects how disputes are resolved. Please read it. If you are a consumer and live in the province of Quebec, Canada, the European Union, or the United Kingdom, Section 11 does not apply to you. 1.
Understood.
Registration as a subscriber, semicolon. Application of terms to you, your account, acceptance of agreements. Steam is an online service offered by Valve. You become a subscriber of Steam by completing the registration of a Steam user account. This agreement takes effect as soon as you indicate your acceptance of these terms. You may not become a subscriber if you are under the age of 13. Steam is not intended for children under age 13, and Valve will not knowingly collect personal information from children under the age of 13. Additional age restrictions may apply in your country. A. Contacting party. For any interaction with Steam, your contractual relationship is with Valve, except as otherwise indicated herein or at the time of transaction, such as in the case of purchase from another subscriber in a subscription marketplace. Any transactions for subscriptions, as defined below, you make on Steam are being made from Valve. B. Hardware, subscriptions, content, and services. As a subscriber, you may obtain access to certain services, software, and content available to subscribers or purchase certain hardware as defined below on Steam. The Steam client software and any other software, content, and updates you download or access via Steam, including but not limited to Valve or third-party video games and in-game content. Software associated with hardware and any virtual items you trade, sell, or purchase in a Steam subscription marketplace are referred to in this agreement as content and services. The rights to access and or use any content and services accessible through Steam are referred to in this agreement as subscriptions. Each subscription allows you to access particular content and services. Some subscriptions may impose additional terms specific to that subscription terms. For example, an end-user license agreement specific to a particular game, or terms of use specific to a particular product or feature of Steam. Also, additional terms, for example, payment and billing procedures, may be posted on http://www.steampower.com or within the Steam service rules of use. Rules of use include the Steam Online Conduct Rules, which is http://steampower.com/index.php?area=online_conduct, and the Steam refund policy, http://store.steampower.com/steam_refunds. The subscription terms, the rules of use, and the Valve privacy policy, which can be found at http://www.valvesoftware.com/privacy.htm, are binding on you once you indicate your acceptance of them or of this agreement, or otherwise become bound by them as described in Section 8. Amendments to this agreement. C. Your account. When you complete Steam's registration process, you create a Steam account. Your account may also include billing information you provide to Valve for transactions concerning subscriptions, content, and services, and the purchase of any physical goods through Steam hardware. You may not reveal, share, or otherwise allow others to use your password or account except as otherwise specifically authorized by Valve. You are responsible for the confidentiality of your login and password and for the security of your computer system. Valve is not responsible for the use of your password and account or for all of the communication and activity on Steam that results from the use of your login name and password by you or by any person whom you may have intentionally or by negligence disclose your login and/or password in violation of this confidentiality provision. Unless it results from Valve's negligence or fault, Valve is not responsible for the use of your account by a person who fraudulently used your login and password without your permission. If you believe that the confidentiality of your login and/or password may have been compromised, you must notify Valve via the support forum https://support.steampower.com/newticket.php without any delay. Your account, including any information pertaining to it, e.g., contact information, billing information, account history and subscriptions, etc., is strictly personal. Personal? Personal. You may therefore not sell or charge others for the right to use your account or otherwise transfer your account, nor may you sell, charge others for the right to use or transfer any subscriptions other than if as expressly permitted by this agreement, including any subscription terms or rules of use, or as otherwise specifically permitted by Valve. D. Acceptance of agreements. Your order through Steam is an offer to Valve to agree on the delivery of the ordered subscriptions, content and services and/or hardware, the products, in exchange for the listed price. When you place an order on Steam, we will send you a message confirming receipt of your order and containing the details of your order, the order confirmation. The order confirmation is acknowledgement that we have received your order and does not confirm acceptance of your offer to enter into your agreement. In the case of content and services, we accept your offer and conclude the agreement with you by confirming the transaction and making the content and services available to you, or in the case of pre-orders, only by confirming the transaction to you and deducting the applicable price from your payment method. In the case of hardware, we only accept your offer and conclude the transaction for an item ordered by you when we dispatch the hardware to you and send email confirming to you that we've dispatched the hardware to you, the dispatch confirmation. If your order is dispatched in more than one package, you may receive a separate dispatch confirmation for each package, and each dispatch confirmation and corresponding dispatch will conclude a separate contract of sale between us for the hardware specified in that dispatch confirmation. Any hardware delivered to you remains property of Valve until payment has been fully made. You consent to receiving sales invoices electronically. Okay. E. Payment processing. Payment processing related to content and services and/or hardware purchased on Steam is performed by either Valve Corporation directly or by Valve's fully owned subsidiary Valve GmbH on behalf of Valve Corporation, depending on the type of payment method used. If your card was issued outside the United States, your payment may be processed via a European acquirer by Valve GmbH on behalf of Valve Corporation. For any other type of purchases, payment will be collected by Valve Corporation directly. In any case, delivery of content and services as well as hardware is performed by Valve Corporation. Holy shit. 2. Licenses. A. The General Content and Services License. Steam and your subscriptions require the download and installation of content and services onto your computer. Valve hereby grants and you accept a non-exclusive license and right to use the content and services for your personal, non-commercial use, except where commercial use is expressly allowed herein or in the applicable subscription terms. This license ends upon termination of A. this agreement, or B. a subscription that includes the license. The content and services are licensed, not sold. Your license confers no title or ownership in the content and services. To make use of the content and services, you must have a Steam account and you may be required to be running the Steam client and maintaining a connection to the internet. For reasons that
internet
include,
connection.
without limitation, system security,
That's where it's going wrong.
stability, and multiplayer interoperability, Valve may need to automatically update, preload, create new versions, or otherwise enhance the content and services, and accordingly, the system requirements to use the content and services may change over time. You consent to such automatic updating. You understand the disagreement, including applicable subscription terms, does not entitle you to future updates, unless to the extent required by applicable law, new versions or other enhancements of the content services associated with a particular subscription, although Valve may choose to provide such updates, etc., in its sole discretion. B. Beta software license. Valve may from time to time make software accessible to you via Steam prior to the general commercial release of such software. Beta software. You are not required to use beta software, but if Valve offers it, you may elect to use it under the following terms. Beta software will be deemed to consist of content and services, and each item of beta software provided will be deemed a subscription for such beta software, with the following provisions specific to beta software. Your right to use the beta software may be limited at any time and may be subject to additional subscription terms. Valve or any Valve affiliate may request or require that you provide suggestions, feedback, or data regarding the use of the beta software, which will be deemed user-generated content under Section 6 user-generated content below, and in addition to the waivers and limitations of liability for all software under Section 7, disclaimers, limitations on liability, no guarantees, limited warranty, and agreement below as applicable, you specifically acknowledge that beta software is only released for testing and improvement purposes. In particular, to provide Valve with feedback on the quality and usability of beta software, and therefore contains errors and is not final. If you decide to install and or use beta software, you shall only use in compliance with its purposes, i.e. for testing and improvement purposes in compliance with system requirements specifically intended for each beta software, and in any case not on the system for purposes where the malfunction of the beta software can cause any kind of damage. In particular, maintain full backups of any system that you choose to install beta software on. C. License to use Valve developer tools. Your subscriptions may include access to various Valve tools that can be used to create content, developer tools. Some examples include the Valve Software Development Kit, the SDK, for a version of the computer game engine known as Source, the Source Engine, and the associated Valve Hammer Editor. The Source registered trademark, filmmaker software, or in-game tools which you can edit or create derivative works of a Valve game. Particular developer tools, for example the Source registered trademark filmmaker software, may be distributed with separate subscription terms that are different from the rules set forth in this section, except as set forth in any separate subscription terms applicable to use of a particular developer tool. You may use the developer tools, and you may use, reproduce, publish, perform, display, and distribute any content you create using the developer tools however you wish, but solely on a non-commercial basis. If you would like to use Source Engine SDK or other Valve developer tools for commercial use, please contact Valve at sourceengine@valvesoftware.com. D. License to use Valve game content in fan art. Valve appreciates the community of subscribers that creates fan art, fan fiction, and audiovisual works that reference Valve games, fan art. You may incorporate content from Valve games into your fan art, except as otherwise set forth in this section or in any subscription terms. You may use, reproduce, publish, perform, display, and distribute fan art that incorporates content from Valve games however you wish, but solely on a non-commercial basis. If you incorporate any third-party content in any fan art, you must be sure to obtain all the necessary rights from the owner of that content. Commercial use of some Valve game content is permitted by a feature such as a Steam Workshop or a Steam subscription marketplace. Terms applicable to that use are set forth in sections 3D chat. You can see what you're doing and it's disrespectful, and 6b below, and in any subscription terms provided for those features. Go on, turn your stream on again.
Oh, okay, sure.
To view the Valve video policy containing additional terms covering the use of audiovisual works incorporating Valve intellectual property or created with the Source registered trademark filmmaker software, please click here. http://www.valvesoftware.com/videopolicy.html.
I don't need to see that. I think you're good.
Man's
E.
fucking dying.
License to use Valve dedicated server software. It's been 15 minutes. Your subscriptions may contain access to the Valve dedicated server software. If so, you may use the Valve dedicated server software on an unlimited number of computers for the purpose of hosting online multiplayer games of Valve products. If you wish to operate the Valve dedicated server software, you will be solely responsible for procuring any internet access, bandwidth, or hardware for such activities, and will bear all costs associated with your use. F. Ownership of content and services. All title, ownership rights, and intellectual property rights in and to the content and services and in any and all copies thereof are owned by Valve and or its affiliates, licensors. All rights are reserved except as expressly stated herein. The content and services are protected by copyright laws, international copyright treaties, and conventions, and other laws. The content and services contain certain licensed materials, and Valve's and its affiliates licensors may protect their rights in the event of any violation of this agreement. G. Restrictions on use of content and services. You may not use the content and services for any purpose other than the permitted access to Steam and your subscriptions, and to make personal, non-commercial use of your subscriptions, except as otherwise permitted by this agreement or applicable subscription terms. Except as otherwise permitted under this agreement, including any subscription terms or rules of use, or under applicable law, notwithstanding these restrictions, you may not, in whole or part, copy, photocopy, reproduce, publish, distribute, translate, reverse engineer, derive source code from, modify, disassemble, decompile, create derivative works based on, or remove any proprietary notices or labels from the content and services or any software accessed via Steam without the prior consent in writing of Valve. You are entitled to use the content and services for your own personal use, but you are not entitled to 1. Sell, grant a security interest in, or transfer reproductions of the content and services to other parties in any way, nor to rent, lease, or license the content and services with the prior written consent of Valve, except to the extent expressly permitted elsewhere in this agreement, including any subscription terms or rules of use. 2. Host or provide matchmaking services for the content and services, or emulate or redirect the communication protocols used by Valve in any network feature of the content services through protocol emulation, tunneling, modifying, or adding components to the content and services, use of a utility program, or any other techniques now known or hereafter developed for any purpose, including but not limited to network play over the internet, network play utilizing commercial or non-commercial gaming networks as part of content aggregation networks, websites or services without the prior written consent of Valve, or 3. Exploit the content, services, or any parts of its commercial use except as expressly permitted elsewhere in this agreement, including any subscription terms or rules of use. Billing, payment. Number 3. Billing, payment, and other subscriptions. All charges incurred on Steam and all purchases made with the Steam wallet are payable in advance and final, except as described in sections 3.1 and 7 below. A. Is that 1 or I? It's I. In sections 3.I and 7 below. A. Payment authorization. When you provide payment information to Valve or to one of its payment processors, you represent to Valve that you are the authorized user of the card, PIN, key, or account associated with that payment, and you authorize Valve to charge your credit card or to process your payment with the chosen third-party payment processor for any subscription, Steam Wallet funds, hardware, or other fees incurred by you. For subscriptions ordered based on an agreed usage period, where recurring payments are made in exchange for continued use, recurring payment subscriptions, by continuing to use the recurring payment subscription, you agree and reaffirm that Valve is authorized to charge your credit card or your Steam Wallet if funded to process your payment with any other applicable third-party payment processor for any applicable recurring payment amounts. If you have ordered any recurring payment subscriptions, you agree to notify Valve promptly of any changes to your credit card account number, its expiration date and/or your billing address or your PayPal or other payment account number, and you agree to notify Valve promptly if your credit card or PayPal or the other payment account expires or is cancelled for any reason. If your use of Steam or your purchase of hardware on Steam is subject to any type of use or sales tax, then Valve may also charge you for those taxes, in addition to the subscription or other fees published in the rules of use. All fees on Steam in the European Union and the United Kingdom include the EU or UK VAT tax, VAT amounts collected by Valve reflect VAT due on the value of any content, services, hardware, or subscription. You agree that you will not use IP proxying or other methods to disguise the place of your residence, whether to circumvent geographical restrictions on game content, or to order or purchase at pricing not applicable to your geography, or for any other purpose. If you do this, Valve may terminate your access to your account. B. Responsibility for charges associated with your account. As the account holder, you are responsible for all charges incurred, including applicable taxes, and all orders or purchases made by you or anyone that uses your account, including your family or friends. If you cancel your account, Valve reserves the right to collect fees, surcharges, or costs incurred before cancellation. Any delinquent or unpaid accounts must be settled before Valve will allow you to register again. C. Steam Wallet. Steam may make available an account balance associated with your account, the Steam Wallet. The Steam Wallet is neither a bank account or any kind of payment instrument. It functions as a prepaid balance to order content and services. You may place funds in your Steam Wallet up to a maximum amount determined by Valve, by credit card, prepaid card, promotion code, or any other payment method accepted by Steam. Within any 24-hour period, the total amount stored in your Steam Wallet plus the total amount spent out of your Steam Wallet in the aggregate may not exceed $22,000 or its equivalent in your applicable local currency. Attempted deposits into your Steam Wallet that exceed this threshold may not be credited to your Steam Wallet until your activity falls below this threshold. Valve may change or impose different Steam Wallet balance and usage limits from time to time. You will be notified by email of any change to the Steam Wallet balance and usage limits within 60 in brackets calendar days before the entry into force of the change. Your continued use of the Steam account for more than 30 in brackets 30 calendar days after the entry into force of the changes will constitute your acceptance of the changes. If you don't agree to the changes, your only remedy is to terminate your Steam account or to cease use of your Steam Wallet. Valve shall not have any obligation to refund any credits remaining on your Steam Wallet in this case. You may use Steam Wallet funds towards subscriptions, including by making in-game orders where Steam Wallet transactions are enabled, and purchase hardware. Subject to Section 3I, funds added to Steam Wallet are non-refundable, non-transferable. Steam Wallet funds do not constitute a personal property right, have no value after Steam, and can only be used to order subscriptions and related content via Steam, including but not limited to games and applications offered through the Steam Store or in the Steam subscription marketplace and hardware. Steam Wallet funds have no cash value and are not exchangeable for cash. Steam Wallet funds that are deemed unclaimed property may be turned over to the applicable authority. D. Trading and transactions between subscribers. Steam may include one or more features or sites that allow subscribers to trade, offer, or order certain types of subscriptions, for example, license rights to virtual items, with, to, or from other subscribers, subscription marketplaces. An example of a subscription marketplace is the Steam Community Market. By using or participating in subscription marketplaces, you authorize Valve on its own behalf or as an agent, licensee of any third-party creator or publisher of the applicable subscriptions in your account to transfer those subscriptions from your account in order to give effect to any trade or sale you make. Valve may charge a fee for trades or sales in a subscription marketplace. Any fees will be disclosed to you prior to the completion of the trade or sale. If you complete a trade, sale, or order in a subscription marketplace, you acknowledge and agree that you are responsible for taxes, if any, which may be due with respect to your transactions, including sales or use taxes, and for compliance with applicable tax laws. Proceeds from sales you make in a subscription marketplace may be considered income to you for income tax purposes. You should consult with a tax specialist to determine your tax liability in connection with your activities in any Steam subscription marketplace. You understand and acknowledge that Valve does not have any obligation to provide or maintain any subscription marketplace. Valve may decide to cease operation of any subscription marketplace, change the fees that it charges, or change the terms or features of the Steam subscription marketplace. You will be notified of any substantial change to the terms of availability of the subscription marketplace in a timely fashion before the entry into force of change, except in the force of major subscribers' fault or third-party event outside of Valve's control. You also understand and acknowledge that subscriptions traded or sold or ordered in any subscription marketplace are licensed rights, that you have no ownership interest in such subscriptions, and Valve does not recognize any transfers of subscriptions, including transfers by operation of law that are made outside of Steam. E. Retail purchase. Valve may offer or require a subscription for purchase of retail packaged product versions or OEM versions of Valve products. The CD key or product key accompanying such versions is used to activate subscription. Further instructions will be provided along with the respective product. F. Steam authorized resellers. You may order a subscription to an authorized reseller of Valve. The product key accompanying such order will be used to activate your subscription. Further instructions will be provided along with the respective product. If you order a subscription from an authorized reseller of Valve, you agree to direct all questions regarding the product key to that reseller. G. Free subscriptions. Ooh. In some cases, Valve may offer a free subscription to certain content and services. As with all subscriptions, you are always responsible for any internet service provider, telephone, and other connection fees that you may incur when using Steam, even when Valve offers a free subscription. Wow. H. Third-party sites. Steam will provide links to other third-party sites. Some of these
Who's
sites may
it?
charge separate
Oh, that's
fees.
Joanne's phone.
Which are, you're interrupting me.
Don't answer it. I'm Mr. Dreech.
Steam may also provide access to third-party vendors who provide content, goods, and/or services on Steam or the Internet. Any separate charges or obligations you incur in your dealings with these third parties are your responsibility. Valve makes no representations or warranties, either express or implied, regarding any third-party site. In particular, Valve makes no representation or warranty that any services or subscription offered by third-party vendors will not change or be suspended or terminated. I. Refunds and right of withdrawal without prejudice to any statutory rights you may have. You can request a refund for your orders or purchases on Steam in accordance with the terms of Valve's refund policy. http://store.steambar.com/steam_refunds. For European Kingdom and United Kingdom consumers, EU and UK law provides a statutory right to withdraw from certain contracts for physical merchandise and for the order of digital content. You can find more information about the extent of your statutory right to withdraw and the ways you can exercise on this page. https://support.steampower.com/kb_article.php?ref =8620-QYAL-4516. 4. Online conduct, cheating and process tampering. Apex players. Your online conduct and interaction with other subscribers must comply with the Steam online conduct rules to be found in http://steampower.com/index.php?area=online_conduct. Depending on the terms of use imposed by third parties who host particular games or other services, additional requirements may also be provided in subscription terms applicable to a particular subscription. Steam and the content and services may include functionality designed to identify software or hardware processes or functionality that may give a player an unfair competitive advantage when playing multiplayer versions of any content and services or modifications of content and services cheats. You agree that you will not create cheats or assist third parties in any way to create or use cheats. You agree that you will not directly or indirectly disable, circumvent, or others interfere with the operation of software designed to prevent or report the use of cheats. You agree that you will not tamper with the execution of Steam or content service unless otherwise authorized by Valve. You acknowledge and agree that either Valve or any host of an online multiplayer game distributed through Steam external host may refuse to allow you to participate in certain online multiplayer games if you use cheats or tamper with the execution of Steam or the content services. Further, you may acknowledge that external hosts may report your use of cheats with or unauthorized process tampering to Valve, and Valve may communicate your history or of use thereof to external hosts within the boundaries of the Steam privacy policy. Valve may restrict or terminate your account or a particular subscription for any conduct or activity that is illegal, constitutes a cheat, or breaches the Steam online conduct rules. You acknowledge that Valve is not required to provide you notice before terminating your subscriptions and/or account. You may not use cheats, automation software, bots, mod hacks, or any other unauthorized third-party software to modify or automate any subscription marketplace process, but the process of Steam account creation or otherwise interacting with or controlling the processes of user interface in Steam except to the degree expressly permitted. 5. Third-party content. In regard to all subscriptions, content, and services that are not authored by Valve, Valve does not screen such third-party content available on Steam or through other resources. Valve assumes there no responsibility or liability for such third-party content unless to the extent provided by mandatory law. Some third-party application software is capable of being used by businesses for business purposes. However, you may only acquire such software via Steam for private personal use. 6. User-generated content. General provisions. Steam provides interfaces and tools for you to be able to generate content and make it available to other users and or to Valve at your sole discretion. User-generated content means any content you make available to other users. 3. Use of multi-user features of Steam or to Valve or its affiliates through use of the content and services or otherwise. When you upload your content to Steam to make it available to other users and or to Valve, you grant Valve and its affiliates the worldwide non-exclusive right to use, reproduce, modify, create derivative works from, distribute, transmit, transcode, translate, broadcast, and otherwise communicate, and publicly display and publicly perform your user-generated content and derivative works of your user-generated content for the sole purpose of operation, distribution, incorporation as part of and promotion of the Steam service, Steam games, or other Steam offerings, including subscriptions. This license is granted to Valve as the contents uploaded in Steam for the entire duration of the intellectual property rights. It may be terminated if Valve is in breach of the license and has not cured such breach within 14 days from the receiving notice that you sent to the attention of the Valve legal department at the applicable Valve address noted on this privacy policy page. The termination of said license does not affect the rights of any sub-licensees pursuant to any sub-license generated by Valve prior to termination of the license. Valve is the sole owner of the derivative works created by Valve from your user-generated content and is therefore entitled to grant licenses on these derivative works. If you use Valve Cloud Storage, you grant us the license to store your information as a private service. Valve may place limits on the amount of storage you may use. If you provide Valve with any feedback or suggestions about Steam, the content, services, or any Valve products, hardware, or services, Valve is free to use the feedback or suggestions however it chooses without any obligation to account to you. You agree that user-generated content you upload on Steam through the interfaces and tools provided by Valve is given significant exposure and that you share for your enjoyment and for the recognition you may receive from other subscribers. Consequently, you grant this license to Valve and its affiliates for free, notwithstanding any other contrary terms provided in the app-specific terms as defined under Section 6b below. B. Content uploaded to the Steam Workshop. Some games or applications available on Steam Workshop-enabled apps allow you to create user-generated content based on or using the Workshop-enabled app and to submit the user-generated content, a Workshop contribution to one or more Steam Workshop web pages. Workshop contributions can be viewed by the Steam community, and for some categories of Workshop contributions, users may be able to interact with, download, or purchase the Workshop contribution. In some cases, Workshop contributions may be considered for incorporation by Valve or a third-party developer into a game or into a subscription marketplace. You understand that Valve is not obligated to use, distribute, or continue to distribute copies of any Workshop contribution, and reserves the right but not the obligation to restrict or remove Workshop contributions for any reason. Specific Workshop-enabled apps or Workshop web pages may contain special items, app-specific terms, supplement or change terms set out in this section to reflect the individual requirements of the Workshop-enabled app in question. Under Section 6A, Workshop contributions are in principle made available to subscribers for free. By way of exception, they may be made available to subscribers for a fee. In that case, the way the revenues generated may be shared, and in particular, the compensation you may receive as a result of this making available are defined in the app-specific terms and not by this agreement, unless otherwise specified in the app-specific terms, if any. The following general rules apply to Workshop contributions. Workshop contributions are subscriptions, and therefore you agree that any subscriber receiving distribution of your Workshop contribution will have the same rights to use your Workshop contribution and will be subject to the same restrictions as are set out in this agreement for any other subscriptions. Notwithstanding the license described in Section 6A, Valve will only have the right to modify, including to create derivative works from your Workshop contribution in the following cases. A. Valve may make modifications necessary to make your contribution compatible with Steam and the Workshop functionality or user interface, and B. Valve or the applicable developer may make modifications to Workshop contributions that are accepted for in-application distribution as deemed necessary or desirable to enhance gameplay or make it compatible with the Workshop-enabled app. Under Section 6A, you grant for free to Valve and its affiliates the right to modify, including to create derivative works from your Workshop contribution. As a result, you are not entitled to any compensation from Valve as a result of Valve's modifications. You may, in your sole discretion, choose to remove a Workshop contribution from the applicable Workshop pages. If you do so, Valve will no longer have the right to use, distribute, transmit, communicate, publicly display, or publicly perform the Workshop contribution, except that A. Valve may continue to exercise these rights for any Workshop contribution that is accepted for distribution in-game or distributed in a manner that allows it to be used in-game, and B. Your removal will not affect the rights of any subscriber who has already obtained access to a copy of the Workshop contribution. C. Promotions and enforcement. If you use Steam services, e.g. the Steam Curates list or the Steam Broadcasting service to promote or endorse a product, service, or event in return for any kind of consideration from a third party, including non-monetary rewards such as free games, you must clearly indicate the source of such consideration to your audience. D. Representations and warranties. You represent and warrant to us that you have sufficient rights in all user-generated content to grant Valve and other affected parties the licenses described under A and B above, or in any licenses specific to the applicable Workshop-enabled app or Workshop page. This includes, without limitation, any kind of intellectual property rights or other proprietary or personal rights affected by or included in the user-generated content. In particular, with respect to Workshop contributions, you represent and warrant that the Workshop contribution was originally created by you, or with respect to a Workshop contribution to which others contributed besides you, by you and the other contributors, and in such case that you have the right to submit such Workshop contribution on behalf of those other contributors. You furthermore represent and warrant that the user-generated content, your submission of that content, and your granting of rights in that content does not violate any applicable contract law or regulation. 7. Disclaimers, limitation of liability, no guarantees, limited warranty and agreement. This Section 7 does not apply to EU or UK subscribers. For Australian subscribers, this Section 7 does not exclude, restrict, or modify the application of any guarantee, right, or remedy that can be so excluded, restricted, or modified, including those conferred by the Australian Consumer Law ACL, on the ACL access control list. Goods come with guarantees, including a guarantee that goods are of applicable quality. If there is a failure of this guarantee, you are entitled to a remedy, which may include having the goods repaired or replaced or a refund. If a repair or replacement cannot be provided or there is a major failure, you are entitled to a refund. For New Zealand subscribers,
That's us.
it's exactly the same. For New Zealand subscribers, the Section 7 does not exclude, restrict, or modify the application of any right or remedy that can be so excluded, restricted, or modified, including those conferred by the New Zealand Consumer Guarantees Act 1993. Under this act, there are guarantees which include that goods and services are acceptable, blah blah blah. If this guarantee is not met, then entitlements that have to suffer remedy, which may include repair, replacement, or refund. If a remedy cannot be provided or the failure of it is of substantial character, the act provides for a refund. Prior to acquiring a subscription, you should consult the product information made available on Steam, including subscription description, minimum technical requirements, and user reviews. A. Disclaimers. To the maximum extent permitted by any applicable law, Valve and its affiliates and service providers expressly disclaim 1. Any warranty for Steam, the content, services, and subscriptions, and 2. Any common law duties with regard to Steam, the content, services, and the subscriptions, including duties of lack of negligence and lack of workmanlike effort, Steam, the content, services, and subscriptions, and any information available in connection therewith are provided for an as-is and as-available basis, with all faults and without warranty of any kind, either express or implied, including without limitation the implied warranties of merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, or non-infringement. Any warranty against infringement that may be provided in Section 2-312 of the United States Conform Commercial Code and or in any other comparable state statute is expressly disclaimed. Also, there's no warranty of title, non-interference with your enjoyment or authority in connection with Steam, the content and services, the subscriptions, or information available in connection therewith. Any warranty against infringement that may be provided in Section 2-312 of the United States Uniform Commercial Code is expressly disclaimed. B. Limitation of liability. To the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, neither Valve, its licensors, nor their affiliates, nor any of Valve's service providers shall be liable in any way for loss or damage of any kind resulting from the use of or inability to use Steam, your account, your subscriptions, and the content and services, including but not limited to loss of goodwill, work stoppage, computer failure, or malfunction, or any other commercial damages or losses. In no event will Valve be liable for any indirect, incidental, consequential, special, punitive, or exemplary damages, or any other damages arising out of or in any way connected with Steam, the content, services, the subscriptions, and any information available in connection therewith, or the delay or inability to use the content and services, subscriptions, or any information, even in the event of Valve's or its affiliates' fault, tort, including negligence, strict liability, or breach of Valve's warranty, and even if it has been advised of the possibility of such damages. These limitations and liability exclusions apply even if any remedy fails to provide adequate recompense. Because some states or jurisdictions do not allow the exclusion or the limitation of liability for consequential or incidental damages. In such states or jurisdictions, each of Valve, its licensors, and its affiliates' liability shall be limited to the full extent permitted by law. C. No guarantees to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law. Neither Valve nor its affiliates guarantee continuous error-free, virus-free, or secure operation and access to Steam, the content and services, your account and or your subscriptions, or any information available in connection therewith. D. Limited warranty and agreement. Certain hardware purchased from Valve is subject to a limited warranty and agreement, or depending on your location, a statutory warranty, which is described in detail here. I'm not going to do that. 8. Amendments to this agreement. Please note, if you're a consumer with a place of residence in Germany, a different version of Section 8 applies to you, which is available here. A. Mutual amendment. This agreement may at any time be mutually amended by your explicit consent to changes proposed by Valve. B. Unilateral agreement. Furthermore, Valve may amend this agreement, including any subscription terms or rules of use, unilaterally at any time at its sole discretion. In this case, you will be notified by email of any amendment to this agreement made by Valve at least 30 in brackets days before the effective date of the agreement. You can view the amendment at any time at http://www.steampower.com/ your failure to cancel your account prior to the effective date of the amendment will constitute your acceptance of the amended terms. If you don't agree to the amendments or any of the terms in this agreement, your only remedy is to cancel your account or to cease use of the affected subscriptions. Valve should not have any obligation to refund any fees that may have accrued to your account before the cancellation of your account and cessation of use of any subscription, nor shall Valve have any obligation to prorate any fees in such circumstances. Fucking hell. 9. Term and termination. A. Term. The term of this agreement, the term, commences on the date you first indicate your acceptance of these terms and will continue in effect unless otherwise terminated in accordance with this agreement. B. Termination by you. You may cancel your account at any time. You may cease use of a subscription at any time, or if you choose to request that Valve terminate your access to a subscription. However, subscriptions are not transferable, and even if your access to a subscription for a particular game or application is terminated, your original activation key will not be able to be registered to any other account, even if the subscription was obtained in a retail store. Access to subscriptions, whether as part of a pack or bundle, cannot be terminated individually. The termination of access to one game within the bundle will result in termination of access to all games ordered in the pack. Your cancellation of an account or your cessation of use of any subscription or request that access to a subscription be terminated will not entitle you to any refund, including any subscription fees. Valve reserves the right to collect fees, surcharges, or costs incurred prior to the cancellation of your account or termination of your access to a particular subscription. In addition, you are responsible for any charges incurred to third-party vendors or content providers before your cancellation. C. Termination by Valve. Valve may restrict or cancel your account in any particular subscriptions at any time in the event that A. Valve ceases providing such subscriptions to subscriptions to similarly situated subscribers generally, or B. You breach any terms in this agreement, including any subscription terms or rules of use. In the event that your account or a particular subscription is restricted or terminated or cancelled by Valve for a violation of this agreement or improper illegal activity, no refund, including any of subscription fees or any unused funds in your Steam wallet, will be granted. D. Survival of terms. Sections 2C, 2D, 2F, 2G, 3A, 3B, 3D, 3H, and 5 to 12 will survive any expiration or termination of this agreement. 10. 10. Applicable law / mediation / jurisdiction / attorney's fees. For all subscribers outside the European Union and United Kingdom, you and Valve agree that this agreement shall be deemed to have been made and executed in the state of Washington, USA, and Washington law, excluding conflict of laws or principles, and the Convention or Contracts for the International Sale of Goods, governs all claims arising out of or relating to 1. Any aspect of the relationship between us, 2. This agreement, or 3. Your use of Steam, your account, or the content and services, except that the U.S. Federal Arbitration Act governs arbitration as far as your country's laws permit, subject to Section 11 dispute
He's falling
resolution
off.
slash binding, shut the fuck up, slash class action waiver below, you and Valve agreed that any claim asserted in any legal proceeding shall be commenced and maintained exclusively in the state of, and in any state or federal court located in King County, Washington, having subject matter jurisdiction. You and Valve hereby consent to the exclusive jurisdiction of such courts. In any dispute arising out of or relating to this agreement, your use of Steam, your account, or the content services, the prevailing party will be entitled to attorney's fees and expenses, except arbitration. See Section 11C. What the fuck? There's so much more. For EU and UK subscribers, this agreement is governed by the law of the country where you have your habitual residence. In the event of a dispute relating to the interpretation, the performance, or the validity of the subscriber agreement, an amicable solution may be sought before any legal action. You can file your complaint at http://help.steampower.com. The European Commission provides an online dispute resolution website for EU consumers at https://ec.europa.eu/consumer/odr. Participation in this website is not available to US companies, which is why Valve is not registered there. However, insofar as your complaint concerns the behavior of Valve's data protection representative Valve GmbH, you can file your complaint there. In the event that an alternative dispute resolution procedure fails, or if either Valve or you prefer not to resort to alternative dispute resolution, you may bring proceedings in the courts of the place where you are domiciled.
Domicile.
11. Dispute resolution / binding arbitration / class action waiver. In Section 11 shall apply to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, in particular if you are a consumer who lives in a European Union member country, the United Kingdom, the province of Quebec, Canada, Australia, or New Zealand. This Section 11 does not apply to you. If you are a consumer who lives in Russia, you may utilize the arbitration process identified in Section 11 and may use local Russian state courts to resolve your dispute. Most user concerns can be resolved by use of our Steam support site at https://support.steampower.com/ if Valve is unable to resolve concerns and a dispute remains between you and Valve. This section explains how the parties have agreed to resolve it. A must arbitrate all claims except intellectual property, unauthorized use, piracy, or theft. You and Valve agree to resolve all disputes and claims between us in individual binding arbitration. That includes but is not limited to any claims arising out of or relating to 1. Any aspect of relationship between us, 2. Disagreement, or 3. Use of Steam, your account, hardware, or the content and services. It applies regardless of whether such claims are based in contract, tort, statute, fraud, unfair competition, misrepresentation, or any other legal theory, and includes all claims brought on behalf of another party. However, this Section 11 does not apply to the following types of claims or disputes which you or Valve may bring in any court with jurisdiction. 1. Claims of infringement or other misuse of intellectual property rights, including such claims seeking injunctive relief. And 2. Claims for lease or arising from any alleged unauthorized use, piracy, or theft. This Section 11 does not prevent you from bringing your dispute to the attention of any federal, state, or local government agencies that can, if the law allows, seek relief from us for you. An arbitration is a proceeding before a neutral arbitrator instead of before a judge or jury. Arbitration is less formal than a lawsuit in court and provides more limited discovery. It follows different rules than court proceedings and is subject to very limited review by courts. The arbitrator will issue a written decision and provide a statement of grievance if requested by either party. You understand that you and Valve are giving up the right to sue in court and to have a trial before a judge or jury. B. Try to resolve the dispute informally. First, you and Valve agree to make reasonable, good faith efforts to informally resolve any dispute before initiating arbitration. A party who intends to seek arbitration must send the other a written notice that describes the nature and basis of the claimant or dispute and sets forth the relief sought. If you and Valve do not reach an agreement to resolve that claim or dispute within 30 in brackets calendar days after the notice is received, you or Valve may commence an arbitration. Written notice to Valve must be sent via postal mail to Attention, arbitration with Valve Corporation, PO Box 1688, Bellevue, WA 98004. See arbitration rules and fees. The U.S. Federal Arbitration Act applies to this Section 11 as far as your country's laws permit. The arbitration will be governed by the consumer arbitration rules or the commercial arbitration rules if the consumer arbitration rules are inapplicable of the American Arbitration Association AAA as modified by this agreement. Rules are available at http://www.adr.org. The arbitrator is bound by the terms of this agreement. The AAA will administer the arbitration. Outside the U.S., Valve will select a neutral arbitration provider that uses these or similar rules. It may be conducted through the submission of documents by phone or in person in the country where you live or at another mutually agreed location. If you seek $10,000 or less, Valve agrees to promptly reimburse your filing fee and your share, if any, of AAA's arbitration costs, including arbitrator compensation, unless the arbitrator determines your claims were frivolous or were filed for harassment. Valve agrees not to seek its attorney's fees or costs unless the arbitrator determines your claims are frivolous or were filed for harassment. If you seek more than $10,000 and the AAA consumer arbitration rules do not apply, the AAA's arbitration costs, including arbitrator compensation, will be split between you and Valve according to the AAA commercial arbitration rules. D. Individual binding arbitration only. You and Valve agree not to bring or participate in a class or representative action, private attorney general action, whistleblower action, or class, collective, or representative arbitration, even if AA's rules will otherwise allow one. The arbitrator may award relief only in favor of the individual party seeking relief and only to the extent of that party's individual claim. You and Valve also agree not to seek You and Valve also agreed not to seek or combine any action or arbitration with any other action or arbitration without the consent of all parties to this agreement and all other actions or arbitrations. This agreement does not permit class, collective, or representative arbitration. The court has exclusive authority to rule on any assertion that it does. E. What happens if part of Section 11 is found illegal or unenforceable? If any part of Section 11 dispute resolution / binding arbitration / class action waiver is found to be illegal or unenforceable, the rest will remain in effect with an arbitration award issued before any court proceeding begins, except that if a finding of partial illegality or unenforceability would allow class, collective, or representative arbitration, all of Section 11 will be unenforceable and the claim of dispute will be resolved in court. 12. Miscellaneous. Except as otherwise expressly set forth in this agreement, in the event that any provision of this agreement shall be held by an arbitrator court or any other tribunal of competent jurisdiction to be legal or unenforceable, such provision will be enforced to the maximum extent permissible, and the remaining portions of this agreement shall remain in full force and effect. Section 11E governs if that some parts of Section 11 dispute resolution, binding arbitration, class action waiver are held to be illegal or unenforceable. This agreement, including any sufficient terms, rules of use, the Valve privacy policy, and the Valve hardware limited warranty policy, constitutes and contains the entire agreement between the parties with respect to the subject matter hereof and supersedes any prior oral or written agreements. You agree that this agreement is not intended to confer and does not confer any rights or remedies upon any person other than the parties to this agreement. Valve's obligations are subject to existing laws and legal process, and Valve may comply with law enforcement or regulatory requests or requirements notwithstanding any contrary term. You agree to comply with all applicable import-export laws and regulations. You agree not to export the content, services, or hardware or allow use of account by individuals or any terrorist-supporting countries to which encryption exports are at the time of exportation restricted by the U.S. Bureau of Export Administration. You represent a warrant that you are not located in, under the control of, or a national resident of such any prohibited country. This agreement was last updated on April 25th, 2023, revision date. If you were a subscriber before the revision date, it replaces your existing agreement with Valve or Valve SARL on the day that it becomes effective according to Section 8 above.